I know that.
All right, so let's get in here. I wonder if she's back yet. Oh yeah, I think she is. Hello. All right. Okay, so I'm here for our mission, so I'm gonna do it, and I'll be back. Okay.
Hey, Doug, thank you so much for the sorrow.
Oh, did you see it? Good.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what sorrow?
I was gonna bring you some doubles, but the guy is away until.
Oh no.
You know the doubles guy down here.
It's really good, actually.
Yeah, he's away. Huh?
Which one are you talking about?
Right there at
Shadow Benny.
Coco Cafe. He's got a little cafe beside Shadow Benny.
Yeah, right next to Shadow Benny, right at Shaw and.
Oh, really? I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
It's actually
the
a
tricky
tricky
place.
Yes.
Oh, have you had doubles from Ali's?
Oh, of course, yeah.
So who's better, Ali's or Shadow?
Ali's is really good. I like Shadow Benny because it had like
yeah.
it was only mango sauce. No, the doubles are like they didn't use tamarind,
No?
but the doubles are like $4 or something like that. So very affordable and very tasty.
Ali's are about 4 as well. They're around there. Yeah.
But Ali's has you can put other things on Ali's as
You
well.
can go to Island Foods and get them for like $2.50, but they're really scrawny.
Yes.
and less delicious.
Delicious.
Yeah, I'm spoiled.
But when I say that, it's not a knock at them. They do a good, consistent job.
Yeah. What's the best for you?
On the streets of Trinidad.
Oh,
Guys with the trolleys. Because I remember when I was going to Trinidad and I said, I was talking to Verlin, I said, Verlin, what is one thing I must do? She said, have doubles on the street because the doubles we have here never match. Yeah, and so I remember the first night we landed, we were wandering around, going to Old Mass, and before we were going to get up later and go to Canboulet. So we were wandering around Arapieta, and this guy was there, and we stopped, and I remember I was eating, I was like, you're going to go like, what have I been eating all this time?
Exactly. I know.
Yeah.
I know. And they're putting all sorts of different things into it now. Almost like the shark and bake.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I've never had that. Is it good?
Oh yeah. At Maracas Beach is the best. They do a little shark and bake as well.
Do they?
It's like little tiny little buttons and like tapas like.
Yeah.
But the shark and bake on the beach, they've got all these condiments that you could add to it, so you just walk around. Yeah. And you put pineapple. What else?
Like pineapple jelly or pineapple?
Like pineapple chow. Right? They've got a whole bunch of different chows, and each one has its spiciness. Then green sauce and the garlic sauce, and then lettuce and tomatoes and stuff. But then you've got cucumber, choca. Like it just goes on and on.
Are you holding that because you're filming? Are you holding that because you're filming?
Yeah, because
What I want to say is she says sauce just like a Trini. She says sauce.
I was
I was at Dufferin Mall like a couple months ago, and I was looking at these socks, right? The ones that don't show your ankle, for summer. And I was like, I was like spaced out that day, the way we kind of spaced out today. And I was like looking at it, and then this voice goes, "You want to know the price?" And I was like, "Huh?" She goes, "You want to know the price? Oh, you're Trini." Yeah.
well, that's like the other day I went to see Camille Turner's show.
Oh yes.
And I'm walking towards there.
Yes.
Yeah, U of T.
It's fabulous.
U of T Gallery.
U of T Art Center.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not shooting. What's going on?
It's doing a countdown.
Oh, okay.
What's your name?
This is Kaniko.
Yes. Hi,
Kaniko,
how are you
this
doing?
is Douglas.
Hi, nice to meet you.
What's your last name?
Stewart, Douglas Stewart, yeah. But no, I was gonna say, when I went to Camille's show, I'm walking by and I see a group of young guys playing soccer.
Yeah, of course.
Or
yeah.
football, as we would call it.
Camille show?
No, outside. Like there's a big playing
outside,
field.
no, I don't
Yeah, outside her show, right? So I'm walking up, and so this East Asian guy, presents as Chinese to me. The ball comes close to me, so he runs over to get the ball. And I said to him, because one, I noticed that most of the men on the field are men of color. Yeah. And I thought, oh, U of T, because I went to U of T and it was not very racialized. There's a ton of, lots of diversity of different people, right? I said, oh, this is kind of cool. So I said, hey, is this a special thing? And then he says, in a very heavy Trinidadian accent, I won't even say it because I'm not going to do it justice, but I was like, oh, Trini, and he's like, but it's not what I was expecting, because again, he just comes up, and I thought, and then he just sort of, and I was like, yeah, and I love those moments. Hey,
I saw the gate and I was like, what? I know. I had someone saw the gate and they thought it was closed.
Yeah, but I called and they're like, it closes at 5, so I'm like, let me hustle on down. Come on in.
So you're gonna give maybe both of us the tour I got.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's because it got cut off the last time because my phone died. But now that's what I want to come back and hear, because you were telling me this amazing piece about that piece, and then it cut off. So whenever you're ready,
Okay, yeah, I can do that. Walk around a little bit. Have a jacket.
It's funny. It's like it's cold, but it's warm. Like it's like supposed to be only 7 degrees, but it feels. It's chill, but it's not as cold as I thought. Yeah, it would be.
We're still in the apocalypse.
We're in the apocalypse.
We're actually
In the apocalypse.
Dystopia of our lives. Oh my God.
It's funny, I was just at this little vintage market. I went over there just to walk around a bit. And one of the things that strikes me is how diverse the people, they're all young though, they're like in their 20s mostly.
Yes.
But I was just struck, and I remember I was walking, I was thinking, well, we better enjoy it in Toronto because, the States, they're deporting everybody. They're just like going to just throw everybody out.
I don't even know how that is
logistically, how can that work? You just line
And they're
up
going to
people.
just walk up here, right?
Already many people are planning to come here.
They're preparing for them though at the border.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, I was reading an article. They're preparing for them because they don't want those people coming up.
But how do you deport people? You just go to their homes and say bye?
I know.
Apparently,
Where do you send them?
Here's your marching papers.
well, according to him, he wants to send them all back to their original countries.
But some of the original countries are America. I was born here.
Well, but
Parents are legal,
but you heard the thing that they're putting out is the potential of what they call the blood law that they're having all over Europe, right? Where basically so one of the things recently was if you're a child of immigrants, you don't automatically get naturalization.
Yeah.
You have to grow to a certain age and apply.
Right.
It's not automatic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you're not born. So you're never a born American.
So then his children are not born Americans. Well, are gone too. That's right? This is no
And it's the same through marriage as well. When you marry somebody, they no longer become an automatic.
Right.
Yeah, they have to go
Goodbye,
through whatever.
Melania. Goodbye, Ivania.
That's such a good point. I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's stupid.
But already it's all blowing up in many other people who voted for him. They're suddenly going, wait a minute, some of these things are going to have meanings for us as well.
That are for Trump.
Yeah.
Your family's gone, right? You realize that?
Yeah.
I've heard the horrible word. The T word. Yes, Lord, yes.
My niece who's in Australia said that the day after the elections, she says, everybody there's in disbelief. They're like, what happened? What is, no, come on.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, the entire
World is
Wednesday was a write-off for me.
yes, for many people.
Yeah, yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Very.
Yeah, that you're right.
The last 2 days, he's sighing all the time.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah.
We'll live through it somehow.
We did the first iteration, but
Yeah.
yeah,
It feels like
2.0 feels like it's gonna be even
Like
worse.
on another level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real rough.
Then we gotta be organized.
Then we've got to be working.
We gotta be organized. We gotta do it.
Carol's work is upstairs as well. Carol, we know.
Oh,
yeah, we love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Thank
so-
you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you for that.
I know that they.
So you start where you want to start, and
Okay, all right. How is that in there?
Looks pretty relaxed.
Yeah, that does look like Blue Devil. Oh my God, that's my dad.
is your dad? I
Is
did.
that your personal family photo?
Yeah, that's my dad. He's a Blue Devil as well. Oh, and there's our mascot, Michael and Martin. Okay, all right. So, actually, I'm going to start with
Yeah,
this one.
start wherever.
Okay. So, the work that I've produced is directly connected to the theories that I am, and the histories that I'm learning about through my PhD work. My PhD work, the show is called the Devil, Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea. But my PhD work is called the liberatory, like I'm looking at the liberatory practices of the Blue Devil.
I have to head out, but I want to say to you, if you do the videography, I'll do the soundtrack.
Okay.
Instantly, that's the mood. Like I was like, I want to listen to this song now. Nice meeting you.
You too.
Pretty
You
cool.
too.
Good to see you.
This is a really good show.
Oh wait, did you do your Blue Devil?
That
Did you do your Blue Devil?
that little piece in the back on the wall, like on the
Which
the
one?
right side of the desk,
Oh yeah.
like
So she does a thing because she has an app where you can get a Blue Devil kind of thing.
Okay.
oh, you know what I should do? Self-portrait of the Blue Devil.
Yeah, so she does that thing where you
So neat.
stand behind her.
You did
Let's do
good.
another.
Okay, wait. Let me save it.
Can you send that to me?
Yeah.
Pretty strong. You know, somebody once told me I look like the bad guy in movies, and I was like, this translates.
There you go. Thank you, Kinoko. Yeah, I'll post it. I have something to post. Enjoy your
This
gold
is
making.
this is really good. I actually wish that I had more time. When are you de-installing? Do I have more time?
Tonight.
Are you?
Yeah.
I'd love to spend more time looking for textures and stuff. Anyways,
Okay.
we'll be in touch. Let's go get some food that's not trendy because you have enough trendy food already. Come with some German food with me.
I can handle that. I can handle
All right.
that. Okay, all right, Kinoko.
I love it.
Oh, and if you send me those, I'll make a painting of one.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Actually,
Excellent.
I'll make two. One for you, one for me.
Okay, good.
All right.
All right,
Cheers.
Kinoko. Take care.
Bye.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
All right, let me go over here.
Oh yeah, so I'm a Blue Devil, I'm second generation Blue Devil. My father, who we just saw in the picture there, he also was part of a Blue Devil band that he led. And I didn't know that until I started doing this research. You know that thing that Caribbean parents do? They don't tell you.
Yeah.
Like I've seen him as a Blue Devil. And I thought, oh yeah, he plays Blue Devil. But I didn't know he was part of the group that actually put out the band, right? Which takes it to a whole other level, right? So, so the research that I've been doing into Blue Devils has led me to actually find parts of myself in the history and in the books that talk about Carnival and talk about Blue Devil and just talk about, Trinidad, also about queerness in Trinidad. Because I said I was looking at the liberatory practices. When I break that down, I'm looking at Black and queer liberatory practices. So what is the queer history of Carnival to some extent? A lot. Anyway, so this piece, so I'm going to just start, this piece is called We Matties, which is we meaning yes, right? We Matties. And Matti, M-A-T-I, comes from the word shipmate, right? And shipmate comes from, of course, the Middle Passage. So folks who traveled through the Middle Passage, first of all, when you're placed in the Middle Passage, in the boats, in the holds of the ships, you're segregated according to gender, right? And so for folks, for our people, our ancestors to survive, there had to be some sort of caring that went on, because no one else was caring for anybody except we were caring for each other. So bonds formed in the holds of the ship, so that when people actually arrived in the New World, in the Caribbean and in South America, etc., they call themselves Matis, right? Because you're my shipmate, right? There are other words that they use, like Malongo, and depending on which island, they actually identify themselves as surviving, coming across, and we are Matis, right? And now, one of the researchers looked at Suriname, at the Matis, because they were still using the word, they still use the word Mati. The Matis had these fluid relationships. So they would, have a relationship with a man, have kids, etc. And then once that was all done, they moved in with their women. Or the men moved over into the men's side. Like, there was this there's a fluidity that isn't about that nuclear family structure where you have to have a man, you have to have a woman. So in other words, queerness, right? So there's elements of queerness, which I knew nothing about going into this, right? And so the other piece around the Matis, there is this theory put out there that the Black Atlantic, the Middle Passage and the crossing, was actually the queer Atlantic, queer Black Atlantic, because we started forming queer relationships. Things became fluid and not as structured as they were previously, right? So the kind of general definition of queer, which is fluidity and non-binary and stuff like that, as well as queer as an expression. So this piece is called We Matis, and I've put them in, two women, I've put them in a landscape where there's plants and trees, but there's Caribbean, the white trees, that's Caribbean kind of flora, and then this part is actually Canadian flora, the absence, and during the fall, where the leaves have fallen and stuff like that. So I've just kind of collapsed the two into this, and I'm thinking through my relationship to queerness and my relationship to the history of queerness and my relationship to this land, right? You'll see throughout there's some shorthand, like visual language that I use, like the hockey stick and the panther is always there. I haven't really shown people this, but the anchor, right? Which actually is a symbol of, it means many things, but it also connects to the Afro-traditional religion called Wenti. Okay. Anyway, so this We Matis, I've got a traditional masquerade character here, based on the Kobo and the Midnight Robber. So this piece, and I did this when I was making the show for New York. Remember the? Yeah. Okay, so We Matis, and then the next one is.
And I'm curious though, because one thing I'm struck by is the clothing, apparel. That kind of signifies on the right, kind of more sort of, I'm assuming almost South Asian, or is it not? Because that's what I'm seeing, almost like the Nehru collar, the kind of shape of it. But it could also be an African top, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was intentional or not.
I was thinking about the shikis, right? But also, yes, the Nehru collar.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing a little bit of syncretization in some of this, like the bringing together of the different groups of people in the work. So yeah. And then the sequins reference carnival, pretty mass and stuff like that. I've got the boats here, which are very similar. It's based on these.
Yeah.
Right? So let me.
Yeah. All right.
I'll do this one next. This piece is called Juve Crossing, right? And Juve, and do you know Juve in Trinidad? Do you know Juve in Trinidad? Okay. So it's spelled Jouvay, which is the patois term, but Juve comes from Juve, right? So daybreak, the beginning of the day. And the beginning of Carnival starts at 4 a.m. in Juve, 4 to 6, when it's the darkest, and then when the light comes up is when it ends. And it's a procession of people who are throwing powder and paint, and there's music, and like it, and you know, because of the darkness, people, you know, like the forms of people shift. They're constantly shifting, and you're sometimes feeling like you're not in this time, you're in a different time. And so this is called dirty mass as well. This is the dirty mass kind of thing. So this piece, and you mentioned Camberley, right? So this piece references the beginning of Carnival, the historical beginning of Carnival, connected to the Camberley, which I'll talk about in a bit, but I won't talk about right now. So Juve Crossing. So you've got folks. So the work I was doing prior to this, I had my people underwater, right? And now I'm bringing them out. Oh, hey, Wanda, how you doing? You made it.
And I made it.
Good to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
Okay, great.
Hi.
This is Wanda, everyone. This is Doug. This is Diana.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Wanda said Petro, Doug. Well, Doug is filming us, so just.
I am filming, yeah. Because I love documenting things like this that, you know, come and pass and go.
So he's asking me to take them through the show, so I'm doing that. So yeah, so Juve Crossing, you've got people emerging from the ocean, right, and coming onto the land, right? So I had to, in creating this piece, I had to, like this piece, I put it on an easel.
Right.
This one, I had to stop the way that gravity was exerting itself on the waves. So I had to flip it flat and then throw in ink on top of it and water and just push, and different colors, and really pushing the liquid around so that I could get this feeling of like splashing and right, and fluidity, right? So we're back to that fluid thing. The other piece to this is, first, you know, like the works, there's blue in a lot of the works, in the majority of the works, and you see the devils, right? And the blue devil is part of this landscape of Juve and early morning mass and stuff like that.
That's me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Paul's in the back there. I'm showing them what blue devils are.
And racism is
Hey, it's going to be what it is.
It's one of these kinds of things. I know you don't like to be on camera, but I'm documenting her talking, and then you walk in. So.
5 minutes to 5. This is Wanda and Mila. Remember Wanda?
Hi. No, no worries.
That's okay. It's all part of the process.
Exactly.
then I get to hear what you're talking about. Today?
Is coming.
Oh, no, okay.
Ronald!
Oh, no, Ronald is starting the group.
How you doing? Good to see you.
How are you doing? Nice to see you. No, but I've been there before.
Lovely. All right, let's keep going.
Let's keep going. Okay. So, this is called Juve Crossing. You see the do not cross. Like for me, there's the element of crossing time and space.
Right.
But also I wanted to reference the kind of revolutionary aspect, the liberatory aspect of it. So that do not cross reminds me of police.
Yes, that's what the police tape, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, but it's like and actually you could see POL there. But actually, you know, there's in the Blue Devil Mass, there is the practice of becoming a Blue Devil. You lose, what is it, in the performance, you tear up all the social contracts.
Right.
Right? So you're just like wild, free, abandoned, and you are playing with people, you're playing sexually, you've transformed into something other than who you first started out as. Right? So if you notice, there's a hockey stick in there, right?
Yeah, the thing,
And
yeah.
I'm also bringing in the environmental piece because I'm also at the EUC program at York.
Right.
And whenever I've seen Blue Devils perform, they often come with like branches. There's branches that they walk with, and so there is something about snakes and all of this stuff.
If you look closer, there's always a spider in my mouth over there.
And the spider. So there is this thing about the embodying of the Blue Devil is in conversation with the discourse around who's human and who's not. So that's some of the theory. That's Sylvia Winter. I don't know if you would know, right? Sylvia Winter. So she's focused on in her writing, she's arguing against the idea that we Black people are less than human, right? And then she's trying to shift and understand that category of human. The Blue Devils are folks who are like not human,
Right.
not animal, not right. Like we embody this energy, right? Not
Or a vibe.
we're a vibe. We're a vibe.
A whole vibe.
A whole vibe, right? And so this actually relates to and some of Andel's. Okay, I'm going to drop some of the theory.
Yeah.
Some of Andel's work where he's talking about in nature's wild, right? So the Blue Devil is wild. In fact, the Blue Devil is feral, right? He sees wildness and the conversation around whether we're human or not. He asks the question, well, if we're considered human, if we are, like, when we look at where we are right now in the age of the Anthropocene, right, which is the age of man, and how man has destroyed the environment, is destroying the environment around him, right? That's How old were you there?
2015? 7.
7.
Wow.
Yeah, in the age of the Anthropocene, there is this destruction, right, that is happening. And so, should we consider ourselves to be human, or should we consider ourselves to be part of the environment, like part of the flora and fauna and animals, and so he's posed that question, right? Like, how do we get to the Ecocene, which is the era of us being in complete communion and communication with the environment, so we're not destroying it, right? So back to the indigenous beliefs around, you only take what you need, and you're stewards of the land and stuff like that. So he asked that question. So that's some of the stuff that's in here, as well as in other places. So yes, okay. The other piece. So this one is the next one, and I'm just taking you through how I. So Caribbean Studies. This one is called Caribbean Studies, right? And I have a lot of thoughts about it, but you see the flowing here. When I first created this, like before I had an image of this woman devil crawling on the surface and this other person there, and then I wanted to put them in a landscape of these, the trees, the banana trees, like just moving, and just to create this like fluidity, but instability as well. She's coming out of the Caribbean. Her hand is on Africa. And you know, so I made these like, so I made like almost like a flat map. You know, you've got hints of India and hints of China in there. So Caribbean studies, right? So Caribbean studies is you've got the boat, right? And there are all sorts of other things in there, but the panther is there as well, right? Looking over, because out of the Caribbean has come all of these people who are like revolutionaries in America and in Canada and in the rest of the world, right? So some of the Black Panthers were original, like connected to Trinidad, connected to the Caribbean, right? And so I wanted to bring that out, right? That revolutionary piece, and she's looking, going like, fuck. And I felt like I had this person really reflecting on the trauma, right? And the devil going, fuck your trauma, right? What you doing? Just, you know, we gotta, right? So, yeah. So, okay, I'll leave that. I'll leave that.
So rich already.
Okay, I'll go to these ones next. So these ones are directly connected to the Blue Devil mass that I'm playing now, right? So I'm part of the Blue Devil Mokojambi mass camp.
Right.
And last year we were Blue Sea Devils, looking at the plastics in the oceans. And so we use recycled materials. Our wings have like chips bags, the inside of chips bags, so that it's shiny. This year we were Blue Land Devils, and we decided to be Blue Land Devils looking at the way land is stolen across the globe. So we looked at Guyana and what's happening in Guyana and Venezuela. Venezuela is trying to get the Essequibo River, right? And it's because they found oil, right? Then we looked at cobalt in Congo, and then we looked at the Middle East.
Right.
So when we came on the stage, we had, you know, statements saying, you know, free Congo, free Palestine, etc. So this one is, these are two actual devils who during their devil performance decided to do this with their tongues. And you know, this is a sign of lesbians, right? So I was like, I'm just gonna take the images and put it in there. So when they came in, I actually said, go find yourself, right?
I found myself.
Excellent. And so this is, I gave her double vision, which is this, you know, connected to the African traditional religions and possession and being able to see not just this reality but other realities. For both of them, this is Basset Bois, right? And I'm directly connecting to Camberley. And the sticks and the stick fighting, but I'm using the hockey stick that I have deliberately pinkified to kind of think through queerness. So Basset, oh yes, you see these little characters here? I call them Devil Riri.
What?
Devil Riri.
Okay.
This one here, and then I've got these two. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I borrowed them from an artist called Wilfredo Lam. Wilfredo Lam was an Afro-Cuban artist in the time of Picasso, and he went to Europe, studied or connected with Picasso, came back to the Caribbean, and he started creating artwork. He's famous for his forest scenes and stuff like that. He would have these characters in there, and he considered them ancestral spirits. So I've just added them to just give that added connection to the history. So yes, Basset Bois, and you know the history. I could go into the history of Camberley, but
Yeah, yeah.
Can you just explain what the plants are?
Oh yeah, Neela likes the plants. Okay, so those are like rubber leaves, and what I like about them is they look almost like tongues, right? So I have this like these devils in the midst of tongues, and then they're hiding in the bush. And I don't know if you guys remember, like they would say lesbians would take, lesbians in the bush. One of you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this thing of like, okay, so I just put them in the bush. I put them in the bush, right? And so yes, and this one has a Mokojumbi feel, like this one is in the water and emerging. What are Mokojumbis, Emily? You wanna say? Stilt walkers, just make it
Stilt
easy.
walkers.
However, those stilt walkers could see the past and they could see the future. They could see what's coming and what has gone.
Fantastic.
Right? So, and the belief is that they walked from Africa across the ocean to the other side, to our side of the world.
Wow.
Right?
Never knew that before.
Yeah. And Mokojumbi Mass is connected to the traditional old school Mass. And that's why our Mass camp is about the traditional old Mass. And we also use text and stuff to embody some of the old Mass, which is often about protest, but funny, in a funny way, in a humorous way. Okay, okay, let me do this one. So these.
Stilts.
Oh yeah, you on the stilts, Abby.
Oh, stilts. Oh, you on the stilts.
And how long did you last on the stilts?
Just a little minute.
About a minute, you lasted? The first time.
No, I don't do.
Oh, you don't do that?
I'm not good enough because I walk on my toes really weird. I think it's a swimmer thing, but you have to be you have to balance more on your heels.
Ah.
To go on the stilts, and I can't do it.
Wow, wow.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. So the smaller pieces are part of my accounting series. So if you notice, there are 4 rows here with numbers on them. And so the top is in the hundreds, the 500s, thousands, and then tens of thousands. And I started off at 0 or 500 and 6,000. So I've been making these for quite some time. And the accounting series looks to count and account for those who've been missing, those who've been abducted, those who've been forced migrated, right? And it, I think about Toni Morrison's quote about the role of the artist is to identify every grain of rice, is to find the scar on the knee of the person, is to really drill down into the details, because that's where we would find ourselves, which has been really interesting because I've been finding myself when I've gone through the historical records. Oh, let me just tell you, this one is called Maroon Guides, and it's, Jamaica is really known for its maroon area, Nanny of the Maroons and all of that, and it's the self-liberated Africans who come with indigenous folks, with other folks, create a space, create a geographical space, like a town, a village that sustains them. And so, like in the US, maroon villages lasted for centuries, like in the swamps of Virginia and stuff like that, centuries, okay? And those spaces had not just Black people, but South Asian people and white people and whoever felt that they needed to be away from the creation of this capital machine, decided to join them there and live like centuries, okay? And no one could find them because they were deep in the swamps. So my maroon guide is taking you to find, right? The Blue Devils come from this hillside village in Trinidad where it's scary. Have you been to Paramin? Scary as hell to go up that, right? You look down, it's only one road, and you look down, you're gonna fall.
Some of us
right?
had to get out the van and push.
Yeah.
At point because it's so steep to get up the hill.
You have to have 4-wheel drive to go
Yeah.
up there. Maybe even 5 and 6-wheel drive. But as soon as you get, so we went up so the Paramin is the home of Blue Devils and Blue Devil Mass, right? Like we went up there before Emily was born, and when we got to the plateau, there were more mountains. Blue Devils were coming down the hill, like blue, like tumbling down, like waves coming down. And they came down, and we're like looking. We're just dealt with a scary ride up, and then they come, and then they, and they start pulling you, and they start pulling your knapsack and go dollar, right? Give me $1, and then I will leave you alone, right? And then blowing fire, snakes, right? And that was actually when we experienced that. I was just like, it's like time collapses. I keep just saying time collapses because you're hearing their screams and their howls, and it feels like you're being transported to a time when screams and howls were everywhere, right? And so you feel like you're in the experience of trauma, and so you feel like you're back there. You're back there during the Middle Passage, during slavery. You're just back there, right? And here these devils are just actually being able to express their rage, and there's a sensuality and sexuality about it as well, that is fluid, queer, as I mentioned. And they're in your face, right? And so it was that made me think to bring Blue Devils with me here when I came back from I was doing an art residency in Trinidad. Came back here, and that's how Blue Devil Posse was formed. And what we did was we came together as queer folks, and we decided to intervene into Pride and into Caravana to remind them of their roots in protest, right? So the first time was intervening in Blue Devil, in Pride, right? Around the time when Jamia had her Pale Out,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, and we would come with signs saying Free Pride, because that was just at the time when they were telling you that you had to pay people to go on the parade. You had to pay. I almost done, Paul.
Well, we can probably work in the background.
Okay, all right. So they're beginning to take down the show right now.
Okay.
So I'll end with this one.
All right.
I'll end with I think they have come to pick up that piece.
Amazing energy.
Oh, and these small pieces with the, I guess it's all with
It's
the
part of the- yeah.
accounting series, right?
What was this one called again? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Janets. It was one of the Janets. Yeah.
Wow. Great.
So this piece is called, I called it Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea. And it's abstract, like I tend not to do abstract work. And what it started off as was an uprooted tree, and the root ball. So I drew the root ball and then tried to figure out how to get to the place where the root actually emerged from the seed, right? So I drew it, then I painted it, and then I did my technique of pouring the paint and throwing, and moving things around and trying to keep with the form and the movement of the root. Do you see a continent in this? Yes.
Now that you pointed out.
Now you can't
Did you
see
draw
it.
that?
You can't unsee it.
See it now.
Did you draw that?
No, I
pointed it out.
yeah, but I created it and I stepped back
I
and
pointed it out. I was like, why does that look like I'm Did you guys?
It does.
It does, totally. It does, but
Yeah.
it wasn't planned.
No,
Ah.
Right, and this was me trying to push the paint and then follow the route as it was moving and stuff like that. So watch. So as soon as, like in the painting of this and in the connecting, because you know you paint something, you have to talk to it and find out is it done, etc. I've cried several times. This piece. So and when I saw Africa, even more so. So if you notice, this is bubble coming. So this is my narrative, right? Because other folks came to me and said, I see this and I see this and I see this. Bubble coming out, there's a face there. And there are all these caverns, right? Like because the root grows the way it does, there's a point where it joins and a point where it branches off, and then there's like stuff beneath that. So this here I see as like DNA strands being torn apart, floating off. And right here is my I feel like it's the Big Bang moment, right? And I don't know if you see the drummer that's here. This is his head. And so for me, I started seeing like
Just seeing it's there.
and you know, like it looks like the cosmos. It looks like stars, you know, like the beginning. So when I was painting it, I was thinking about how do I get back to that time of emancipation? Because in that time, they were already dealing with environmental loss and degradation, right? Because they were extracting stuff from the land, right? And plantations and, right? So how do I get back to that time where they were just told, they knew that they were free and they were wanting to express that and wanting to express the pain and the rage and the terror and the horror. And so for me, this piece, like some of the artists who've come in here said, this is the synthesis of all of this. Synthesis of all of this. Yeah.
Are these my horns?
No, those are mine. Your ones are in your room.
Oh.
Right. This piece is called Pay the Devil. Right? And so as I mentioned, you have to pay the devil in order for them not to leave, for them to leave you alone. But the way we play our Blue Devil is Caribbean parents is something else. They hear they hear all of this going on, and then they go, child, right? And they take, that's a Trinidad, and they take their child, they wait till we come, and they take their child and they go whoosh as we're coming down the road, right? And the child, if the child could stand still and not flinch as we come around them, could no. If you could stay still and not flinch, you've looked the devil in the eye, and you're good for a year to deal with any devils that are coming at you. The devils who say that they're not the devils that are coming at you. So you feel it's like a blue blessing, right? And above that blue blessing, a lot of the work is blue, and it's blue because the sea, between the devil and the deep blue sea, there's that piece, but also it connects to, the blue that is put on our bodies comes from blue in. I don't know if you have seen that blue cube.
Yes.
It makes your whites white.
Yes, it's used to wash the laundry.
Right? Or blue. Right? Like all your dingy whites, you put this, it just boggles the mind. You put indigo into it, and it turns it white.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So if you so we're coated in this blue, right? And we're embodying this idea of cleansing and cleaning, right? So in the expression of the rage, in the catharsis performance that we have with people, with the kids, with, you know, dollar, 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 the exchange, you exchange your good, right? Comes that ability to feel like you've gone through some sort of transformation and been cleansed.
I think he's saying that.
Yeah, no, yeah. All
No,
of
just
that.
move your camera that way so we're not distracting
Oh, yeah, okay.
people.
Really? It's part of the experience.
Part of the show. So, the blue connects to Yamaya, right? Another deity that came with the Africans enslaved and taken across. So, in the holes of the ship, the Yamaya is connected to the ocean, fishes, think about whales. Think about being in the holes of the ship and hearing the sounds of whales. Because you could hear whale song underneath water for miles, right? So imagine people crossing and hearing that.
Why don't you show them?
Which one?
These would be mine.
Oh yeah, I'll show them. Oh yeah, no, yeah, you can leave them out there. The piece of your mind.
Ah,
Right.
the cover of the magazine.
Yes. So this piece is called "They Say We Can't Breathe Underwater," and it's connected to the exhibit that I had before. Okay, he's going up. So this is the Yamaya costume that we made and played for Carnival. That right, and I've juxtaposed it with this is Emily. That's her swimming, right? Because I also did a video with her swimming, and you could see the continents, the two. So it situates it in the middle. So Yamaya is a healer, and according to the stories with Yamaya, Yamaya would take her devotees down to the sea, to the island underwater, and on this island, if they can survive, they're then released to come back to the world to heal.
We watched the
Right.
opera about it.
That's right,
This
right? So when I'm thinking, this is PhD work. One of the chapters would be why blue, right? And then someone told me, I don't know if you know this, in the Sahara, there's blue men in Sahara. You know about it? What do you know about it?
But I don't know a lot. I just know I've seen images.
Right, so they cover themselves in blue in order to deal with the heat, I guess. I don't know, I have to follow up
And even
on
the
that.
fabric that they wear, right? The blue, a lot of blue fabric instead of like
Yes.
white or any other color.
Yeah. So there's something about the blue, and definitely some of the rituals I found when I did the research. I found rituals connected to Ogun rituals by secret societies where they painted themselves blue and some different colors, and they ran through the village. The idea being to emote and to clear the village, that it was a cleansing kind of ritual. It's so all of that I'm finding in the research, which is pretty cool. It's very cool. So yeah, and these are the older works that were underwater. So this is Drexia, Sentinel Drexia, I think. So that underwater island and that fabled place called Drexia, which was created from African women who were thrown overboard, African women who were pregnant, thrown overboard, and they gave birth, and their offspring are able to breathe underwater, right? And there's a way that we as Black folks have to learn how to breathe as if we're breathing underwater, right? Continuously. So anyway,
We're always in weather.
We're all. I like that.
Christina
I like that.
Christina Sharp.
Yes, that's right.
We're always
that's
in
right.
weather.
Actually, yes, I have
Yeah.
quoted myself.
Wow. And this is just Blue Devil. Oh, it's just one of the accounting series, right, with the numbers.
So yeah, I tend to do my devils in there, but
Yeah.
you didn't see the Pom Pom series.
You showed me when I was here upstairs,
yeah, the
but
Pom Pom.
they're in the corner on the wall, right? By
Yeah,
the,
I think.
Pay the
is
Devil.
there, Emmy, is there another
There's
one?
one left.
One left.
you had shown me one. There's one.
Yeah.
All right, let's quickly go look at it. You had shown me them upstairs the last time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think Robert took two lunch. But these are the Pom Pom series, and they're like these tiny little pieces. pieces with their butts showing because it really connects to the idea of Jamets and Camberley and the cross-dressing and the, you know, the fluidity, the queerness, etc., etc. It's a collage.
Got the outline.
It's a collage. That's a magazine. And then all the eyes looking, right? So yeah, so there's a lot going through it. The show, you know, things around respectability and, you know, the respectability that is based on Victorian standards. And then the what they call reputation, which is more based on let's be free, let's be creative, let's okay, you're stopping us from playing the drum, we're gonna use the tambour bamboo. You stop us from using the Robert, good to see you, eh? And thank you very much.
Of course, of
Yes,
course.
Robert.
You're just keeping you busy.
Yes.
I love it.
We'll talk.
We'll talk, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, and Robert actually wrote an article on queer marronage, which is kind of connected to that, right? So it's all of these things that are just braided into this work, yeah, and you know, hopefully I'll be able to finish it, the dissertation. But yeah, this actually doing this has been really, really incredible because I just remember, and there's more stuff, but I think I could leave it there for now.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So rich.
Thank you for asking to record it because
Yeah.
we haven't gotten all of those details.
So what resonated for you?
Wow, so much, but that accidental coming together of the continent was pretty profound. And I like the learning about the way that Natalie does the technique, like to see that fluidity. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Like I feel like I've just broken through to, Andal talks about eco-poetics, which is, you know, the romance of the environment, right? And I feel like this fluidity helps me capture that. There's a romance that's happening. So, yeah.
Part of this. This feels joyful to me as a PhD, and I would just want to stick to creating art. So how do you balance out the actual having to write the dissertation? Do you have to write a lot, or is that a small part of it? Is this the...
Right. This will be part of the okay. Oh yes, Emily's going to...
But I have to tell the Emmy story before she leaves. When I saw you at the ROM and you couldn't take your can of pop upstairs, and so you and your friend disappeared and you and I were talking and they came back with the pop in cups. So there were little subversives even back then. You don't even remember that, do you? And you remember it? And then you came back and then right away you said, you and your friend said, and I know that, Neela's like, no, don't put her on social media. And you both said, no, you gotta take a photo. And you gotta post it. Are you gonna post it? And you sat with me and made me post it. You remember it, right?
How old were you, Ems? I think it was with Marley, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It must have been
Marley was, you were 9 years old, 10? Okay, Emmy, call me when you get home.
Okay, bye, sweetie.
She's a little subversive. Even back then, it was like...
Yeah, so this will form part of this will be one chapter, right? But at the beginning, I have to write about my relationship to Blue Devils, which is really, really, for me, it's been interesting learning about stuff that my dad didn't tell me. Like, Dad, I'm doing this work on Blue Devil. Then he will say, did you know? And then I would say, in the books that I'm reading, they talk about the conditions that people were living in when Carnival was forming, right? And then he would say, and I would explain what they said. He goes, yeah, I lived in those barracks, right? So those barracks lasted for like a century or more, and these were like barrack yards, like little one-room shacks connected to each other, and behind it was like a bathroom that for 40 people, outdoor, right? And so in that's where you had the jamettes, the queer people, the cross-dressers, the poor people, the mad people, the what, and out of that group, and the spiritualists out of that group, that's where Carnival started forming. So
Dad's relationship?
so I'm like Dad. So the drum was outlawed because Trinidad was French and Spanish, and then the British came right around the time of the end of slavery. So the British needed to have order because they didn't have any history of carnival in their background, right? So they outlawed the drums because all this drumming in my head, da, 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 da. And you could see all the complaints of people in the newspapers, the op-eds, right? And the writing it's all there. And they're talking about the lasciviousness and these women dressing as men and men dressing as women, right? And so he says, my dad says, yeah. And so they outlawed the drum, and then people decided, you know what, we're going to create tambour bamboo. They created something called tambour bamboo. They would go up and cut a bamboo and have different lengths of it, have 4 or 5 of them, four or five guys, and they hit it as they walk. And they hit it in rhythm, like it's a percussion instrument, and it creates the music for their performance and whatnot.
That's amazing.
So,
Because that's in the Enigma of Harold Sonny Ledoux.
Yes.
yes.
And it's and they make a reference to that, like everyone having one in their yard.
Yes,
It was like they had to have one.
Yes.
Everyone.
Yes.
But they never really talk about what it is actually.
Yeah, so that in
Almost
particular.
I couldn't quite understand. It was like if it was like almost like a nationhood or like a.
So I think you're referencing the bamboo structures with the flags on them, which is a hidden.
No, it was just a no. It was
It was
and
just
it's
like
it's just a stake, like a No, they I think they refer to it by the same name.
coquille. Yes. The coquille, like we have.
It's just
one.
that it's a
Yeah.
brief, so
Yeah.
I couldn't quite get the context of what it was.
Yeah, everyone has the coquille, and the coquille broom, if it's turned upside down, means that you don't come calling. It's turned the other way, it means that you come calling. And it's also part of like some like traditional religious kind of practices as well, as sweeping out.
Right.
But yeah, so the tambour bamboo, and then because what did the British do after they saw people doing the tambour? They outlawed that as well, right? And so people started using dustbins. They outlawed that as well, right? And then eventually Canada had come to Trinidad and was part of the oil, refinery. And those oil bins,
Yeah.
you cut it and then you tune it and you end up with steel pan, right? and the steel pan was called, like the steel pan yard was called the Devil's Yard because they just associated with the jamettes. And these jamettes, when they played mass, they came prepared with their buckets with rocks in it, their stick fighters, the bois, right? And they would have stick fights where the idea is to try and not bust somebody's head, but to bust somebody's head. And then if the police tried to intervene, which they would often do, they actually would do things like they would lay siege to the police station. So they would come with their buckets of the stones and the bottles, and they would pelt them, and just so in the books, those stories are in there. Other stories are like in the court, because you arrest these people. So you hear the stories in the court proceedings where these two women dressed as men were running around the place going tarara boomsie, and whenever they said tarara boomsie, they go boomsie. Right, and you're like, okay, so what is happening there? And then the guy who was arrested, who was dressed like wearing tight clothes and had these bells on him. So every time he would move, the bells would ring, right? And you're like, oh my God, you know, these people existed, right? My people existed, right? You know?
We existed.
We existed, right? And so
We've always existed.
we always existed. We've just been written out, right? And so doing this research has helped me find that, and it's kind of, you know, it grounds me, right? Like it roots me in people saying, oh, you know, you're evil, and da da da. I'm like, no, we were here, and we were here, and we were part of the carnival process. We were part of building the nation. So hush your mouth, and you know, like so now I have those stories with me, right? So yeah. Yeah, so those are, you know, those are things. There's more. So yes, there would be how the Blue Devil connects to me, but also I've been doing this DNA research. Neela gave me a gift as a ancestry DNA, and I've connected with all of these people, and to the point where I found the plantation in Trinidad that we're from. Yeah, and I'm like, Dad, you know this place? Oh yeah, I remember we had to cross a stream, and when we got to the land, you know, and his grandmother lived to 100 years old, right? So she would go with him. She would take him to meet her brother, who was an overseer on the land, because the land was parceled out. And there was a house on the land, and he said, you know, there was this big pot every time he'd go, this big pot with all this food cooking, and it smelled so good. And then he was able to go through the plantations, and they would cut the bananas when they were green and put them down on the ground and cover them in leaves so that they could turn yellow, and you know, like it. And he just like, what the hell? Why you didn't tell us this? And some of the other folks that I connected with talked about the house and how they had rigged up a bamboo system where water was flowing in and out of the house continuously, because they connected it to the river or the stream behind. It's like, what is this? So yes, so we have no electricity, because they had no running water, and they didn't want to, you know. So yeah, so I'm just, yeah. So before, 6 years ago, I thought, I don't have any history because my parents haven't told me anything. Everybody is dead and gone. And now I'm like falling into all of these stories and connecting with people, connected with a cousin who's gay, who actually put together a lot of the history on my father's father's side. Father's side, yeah. So it's all, so that will be piece of it, and then and then I will be talking about the theories, and then why blue, and then the show, and bringing it all together. I think trying to bring it all together. That's so far. I haven't written the proposal as yet, but I have to write the proposal. Yeah, but yeah, so much stuff. People in and part of it is the things that they were struggling with are some of the same things we're struggling with today. So how did they do it? What did they do? How did they, right? So I'm also asking those questions when I go back into between the devil and the deep.
So that we are here.
That we're here, right?
It's nice.
So yeah, so that's a whole unpacking of a lot of this, and yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So beautiful.
Yes.
Because I was so provoked the last time I was here. I was like, I've got to come back.
So what moved you?
Huh?
What moved you?
What moved me was just a connection to history. And it's always on, because when I went to Trinidad for Carnival, I remember going to Paramin and seeing the Blue Devils. And also, I've always been fascinated by, engaged by it, because even the Blue Devils, I knew about them before I went to Trinidad. And so when I was up there and I saw one of the guys come down who's one of the original members or at this point in time, and I was like, oh my God, because I'd seen a documentary about him like years before that. And just the depth of the culture in terms of its telling the story of the people there, and also the histories of exactly what Natalie's talking about enslavement and indentureship, and just the history of the people in a very raw, rooted way, right? And how it's preserved through this blue ritual, and even just carnival. And when I went to Cangole, which is basically them telling you the story of the origins of carnival, I mean, that to me was also just incredible, like to learn that history and realize it was all connected to emancipation and being able to suddenly be free and be able to just be yourself. And so it's about what they call free up. Which is why, I remember the last time when I was here, Natalie said, there's a sort of, the language used was, in Toronto, there's an orchestration of carnival, which is very than when you're in Trinidad. And some of Trinidad is taking that on too, with the sort of beads and feathers. But there's all this old mass, which is like the historical roots of it that's also expressed. So yeah.
Is like hell, so and so is like hell, right? Like water is like
all right, so let me wrap this up. There's so much.
These are so interesting style that you're using to create. It just has such like an organic, but also like this element of sort of chance and it's really beautiful. Manipulating, but still its own life, so its own And it makes me think of like huge change because she does hurricanes or things that are natural, like giant shifts to the things that we try to control.
Thank you. What does she do? Yeah, I'm loving this process. I'm going to be doing more of this work.
Who knows? So it's going to be, this is like a way to do it on practice, but also PhD.
Yes, so it'll be
This particular
project. I might be doing
It must be
videos.
incredible doing this research.
I mean, why else would you do this PhD if it, because I came in wanting to do something else, and then I changed it to make something that would lead something to me. I like it. Now I'm just sharing.
Share it, and then share it with you guys. Share it back with her so she can have it. She might use some of it in her PhD thesis.
One of the relatives that I met actually had a picture of my father's grandmother's brother was on the plantation, and he was all dressed up, and he had a white rose and liberation, so a white rose. It's like, so I'm like, this is incredible. And he had 20 kids. There is 20 kids, yeah.
Different moms or one? Just asking.
I think there were 2 wives, but I think he had more kids with that wife than he had 20 with this one. But they were, I guess, hardy then.
I mean,
yeah. Yeah, and it's just very interesting going back there and seeing how it was the beginning of the formation of capitalism, the beginning of the formation of like how we say, right? So things were, there were a lot more going on, and then it started to St. Mary into what we are here is, right?
Yeah. So your
I
last
don't
name is
know
Smith?
anywhere near
My
that.
father was Smith.
I think too, like I just read funny bits about the transition from people being indentured on plantations to the shift of what that meant to the community and how, you know, it's so complicated because it's like any other colonization creates these weird, you know, hierarchies and
silos or like
Yeah.
separations.
separations.
But at that time, like what I was finding was that the Indian folks would come to carnival and help with the drums and the music. And the African folks who drum would go to their festivals and help with their drum work as well. The blue that is in the Jaja is when you think about counties, you think about the town of Cali, right? There's all of these ways in which we're connected. And then also the Blue Devil is connected to Dragon Dance as well. And Dragon is connected to the Asian culture, right? And the dragon had these imps and devils that would torture the dragon, right? And the dragon and the like couldn't cross water. So there were all these performances, and then whenever there was a drain, because the road sometimes there would be drains with water, they had to do this kind of dance in order to cross it. Rich stories, right? That we don't really have.
Yes.
Yeah, and all performative and all releasing something and all connecting across.
Yeah, these are really rich that way. They definitely have, like they're so illustrative at the same time as they are abstract. They still have like this real sense of like mythology or you just know there's so much more behind what you're looking at. Where my town was. You want to read the story that goes along with that.
It's much more. It's much richer. You know how Camille talks about Afrofuturism? I like a lot of people say it's not about Afrofuturism, but it's more of a surrealism, right? So it's a surrealistic kind of understanding. You know, and the surrealistic art, right? It's like they look at the force of nature and the forest in particular, the fables and the stories, right? And it felt like there was an energy there that was be learned.
So glad I ran into you. I had the opportunity to catch this before it.
And I feel like I'm going to title this In Memory of Carol.
Sorry? In memory of Carol.
Yeah, because I knew her. I just realized I kept saying, wait, I was on A Space on the board. I was there. I was around when she was there. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have a chance to go?
No.
We should have waited till you came.
No, I didn't know until I got here, and then I heard you were there, and I said, wait a minute, I know Carol. Right? I thought about running over, but, you know. Yeah.
It's going to be up until December 7th.
Okay, great. So I can go by and see. Okay, good.
You can just,
Good.
you know,
Good.
and there's going to be probably people hanging around.
Yes,
But
good.
it was really sweet.
Good.
Yeah, different people spoke and their son. And
Right. So we should end with me doing one of those with you.
Okay.
Very close to the community center where the police
All right, there you go.
Did you design that?
I had a friend like.
I'm just looking. I was gonna ask him this.
In the room,